from history books and even from movies, you hear about Attila the Hun.
Right.
Was he Hungarian?
No, no, but a lot of people connected them. Uh,
Is the
Not
name
just,
Hungary from his name?
no, it's not. It comes from probably a Turkic word.
Hmm.
The origins of Hungarian are somewhat murky, but one interpretation has a Turkic word meaning 10 arrows or
Oh,
perhaps 10
wow.
tribes. And the thinking is that the Hungarians were part of a larger confederation of 10 tribes back
Interesting.
then.
Is a figure like, let's say, Attila the Hun someone that Hungarians celebrate, consider one of their own, sort of their prior ancestors, or no? Is that someone from the East that doesn't really play a major role in Hungary's modern perception of their own history?
I don't know about the modern perception, but certainly Attila the Hun he made a name for himself, right? For all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
works, right? That this scourge of God.
yeah.
So his name was out there, and he was remembered hundreds of years later when the Hungarians arrived, and some people called them Hungarians and remembered the Huns, so they were easily confused. Both of them too were, these fierce warriors coming from the east, skilled on horseback, very mobile, terrorizing large parts of Europe for a long time. So there, the connection was not arbitrary. Um, there was no real connection between them. But what's interesting is that later, when in the Middle Ages, when people began writing histories and somewhat fanciful histories, a number of people connected the Huns and the Hungarians, and this stuck. So one name for what would later become Buda, a key part of Budapest, was Etzelberg. This is the German name, and that literally translates as Attila's town.
Oh,
So,
wow.
the Germans said, like, well, Attila the Hun was in this area, and he surely had a city, and it was right here, and so there's this connection made, and then the Hungarians themselves picked up on this, and they began saying, well, our kings are related to the Huns. It simply was the case that everyone likes having, if you're going to have a family tree, it's good to have like some, fancy names in there. And Attila the Hun had lost some of his negative connotations and simply become a
Over
name
the
to conjure
centuries.
with. Yeah, yeah. So it became a name to conjure with. So it was appropriated. The fact that the Huns had been in, what is today Hungary, in this region, also lent legitimacy to the Hungarians occupying the area. So, by claiming the Huns, they claimed a luminous ancestor and also said, oh, yeah, like our ancestors were in this area centuries ago. So it did a whole lot of work for them.
So just a mere case of coincidence that the name Hungary sort of sounds alike with the name Huns, but it doesn't necessarily associate from drive from them.
Right.